Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV, and this is player ratings from yesterday's game against Everton. 3-1 win, 3 points, that's all that matters. But if we go through the team, starting from the back with Ederson, I thought he was absolutely brilliant again. Not much he could do for the goal. He was caught out with Calvert-Lewin's header. Came off his shoulder, I think. I've not managed to watch the full sort of match of the day highlights, but certainly at the game, being behind the stand, it looked like it came off his shoulder. Nothing he could do about that, but he played an absolutely worldie. I'm sure people, please correct me if I'm wrong, but just as what I think he played this wonderful pass all the way across to Bernardo, about 80 yards, right into his path. Fans immediately stood up in front of me, and we had to stand up because there was a bit of a furore across the next to us with the Everton fans, because we sit close to them, and so everyone was looking over that side. So I missed actually whether it was Ederson or not, but if it was Ederson, what an absolutely wonderful pass. Other than that, didn't put a foot wrong. He was his usual brilliant best. So Ederson gets a 7 for me. Did nothing wrong, and made a wonderful pass to Bernardo, I think. So moving into the defence, we played Laporte and Otamendi, and certainly in the first half, Otamendi was doing his usual sort of like trying to dive in and win balls, and I thought he was solid overall. Didn't have a crap game, didn't have a great game, so I don't know. I'll give him a 7. Laporte, wow, he was in the battles yesterday. I mean, he was throwing himself all over the place. Not sure, again, like I said, I've not seen any replays or watched back of any of the game from yesterday, but it certainly, from where I stood, looked like an elbow. Now, whether it was accidental, who knows, but 7.5 for Laporte. Moving into the fullback roles, Delph didn't have his best game, battled non-stop, but sometimes his passing was a little bit awry, so I don't know, give him a 6.5. Onto the right side, Kyle Walker. Again, it's one of those. I think Walker he's not had much rest. He went away with England, came back, had a week or two off, and came back straight into training. Has pretty much played most of the games, bar 1 or 2, but just signs of sort of sloppiness creeping back into his play, getting caught upfield far too many times. That happened last week and midweek. Certainly last week, sorry. And yeah, again, yesterday in that right back berth, in that area, let's call it, rather than just saying it's down to Kyle Walker, Everton had 3-4 opportunities where they were free to cross the ball, with nobody actually making a tackle against the player out wide on the left. And, we were fortunate because one led to a goal, free little chip over that Bernardo should have really closed down much quicker, and 2 or 3 others where they got crosses in, without any challenges, and apart from poor finishing, could have really sort of made the game a bit tighter. But so Walker, I think Walker's due a rest. The sad thing is that Luke Bolton's been out injured and Danilo's been out injured. Now hopefully Danilo will be back, can give Kyle Walker a bit of a rest, because I think he needs it. I think he just needs a week or 2 away in games whereby it doesn't matter as much, and let him sort of reminisce and think back on, let's get back to basics and let's make sure we can defend properly. So I'm going to give Walker a 6, because I didn't think he was great yesterday. Luckily, he's got that sort of pace to get himself out of trouble, but let's not put himself in trouble in the first place. So moving into midfield, Fernandinho, for me, he's always solid. Even if he has not one of his better games, he's always solid. I mean, the amount of times, it's okay seeing highlights and things like that, but when you watch him at the game, the amount of sort of interceptions, little tackles, touches, things that he does and starts, moves off, he's so integral. I mean, he's always receiving the ball from Ederson. So yeah, he might not have had his best passing game, but I mean, he just does so much, and he's another who's desperate for a rest and really needs someone to step up and take over that role just for a week or two, or in the odd game or two, because he needs to sort of put his feet up, have a good long rest at his age, but he never, he's never ever poor. Somebody who you would say, oh, he's had an awful game today. He's always solid. So I'm going to give Fernandinho a 7 because, I don't think he did anything majorly wrong, and yet he does so much when, at his age, we really do need somebody to replace him and give him a rest, in my opinion. Moving into the midfield, we had Bernardo and we had Gundogan. Now, Gundogan, I thought, was absolutely brilliant yesterday. His control, his touch, his passing was really, really good. And he's such a classy player. And when teams give him time, and that's, I think, is the key. And this is the only downside, is he's not the quickest, he's not the greatest at tackling. But if teams sit off him and give him, a second or two on the ball, he'll absolutely destroy you. He's absolutely class. He's a top-class professional, happy to rotate. And when he comes in, he always does his best. Sometimes, when I've said in videos previously that, when we play the likes of David Silva, Fernandinho and Gundogan together, there's very little legs, let's say, in midfield. And maybe sometimes David Silva's genius gets him out of any critique. And sometimes Gundogan's the one who sort of is the fall guy, and that's fair enough. And maybe we're a little bit harsh on occasions, but I thought yesterday, given the time and space, he was wonderful. His passing was quick, it was dynamic, it was forward most of the time. So for me, I thought Gundogan gets. Give him an 8. I thought he was really, really good yesterday. So well done, Ilkay. Bernardo Silva, not his best game, and to be fair, the last few games he's not been at the level that he has been, certainly at the start of the season and sort of in the first sort of 10-12 games. And again, I think he's another player that he needs a rest. He needs somebody to come in and give him a bit on the sidelines, and he probably would have done if David Silva wasn't injured, and maybe we could have played another player in there. But with David Silva's injury, he's having to step up again and again, and I think just over the last few games, his level of energy, let's call it, has dropped a little bit. And but still wonderfully gifted player, plays some beautiful passes, great on the ball, still fights for the team, but you can just see he's hit that, that curve. He's gone over that particular curve, and I think it's time that Pep needs to have a look at him. Hopefully he'll get a rest against and he don't play against Leicester, because we need him. He's been such a wonderful player for us this season. Moving out then, up front we had Riyad Mahrez on the right, we had Gabriel Jesus up front, and we had Leroy Sané. Now in the first half, I thought Sané on occasions looked a little bit sort of leggy. I did use the word lazy, and I'm sorry if now we're not allowed to call a person lazy because of their colour of the skin, which is absolutely ridiculous. But he did, on occasions, there were balls that were being played, and the players, I think Gundogan, I think Jesus on a couple of occasions sort of shrugged and put their arms up in the air saying, come on, that perfect ball for you, what you doing? And yeah, maybe he's another one. Pep actually came out in his post-match press conference and said that he took him off because, Leroy looks tired. And probably if you look at the medical staff who were looking closely at the stats and his performance levels, he's probably pushing that red limit. So, I know he wasn't happy. He didn't look happy being brought off, but maybe it's to save him for another day in a more important game. But, there's no doubting his ability. I mean, that wonderful ball through for Gabby to score the first goal. A great cross again for Gabby for his second goal. So, I mean, he's bringing something, even if it's not at an energy level that we see with Sané normally week in, week out. So maybe he's another player that needs a bit of a rest. On the right-hand side, Riyad Mahrez started. I'm going to start this off with one. I don't think Mahrez is a player that is a natural touchline winger, let's call it. As in how Pep wants Sané and Sterling to play really, really wide, stretching the play, etc., etc. He's much better inside, and the amount of occasions where he got the ball really sort of like on the touchline, 20 yards, 25 yards from goal. Bernardo Silva made several brilliant runs. Gabby was running his socks off to make arcing runs to get him behind, and he just either didn't see the pass, or then played sort of a really sloppy overhit pass or whatever. But he did come inside on a couple of occasions like he normally does, onto his favoured left foot. He played a wonderful sort of like passage of play where he cut inside, but from sort of 10, 12 yards out, you'd expect him to hit unchallenged. You'd expect him to hit one corner or the other, and he hit it straight at Pickford, which made it a pretty simple save. He played a great pass into Gabby. Gabby was offside. Now, without seeing the replays, I'm not sure whether it was a delayed pass or not, but Gabby was making lots of runs yesterday, and Mahrez just didn't seem to see him. But overall, I thought he was okay. He wasn't great, and he wasn't he wasn't really poor. Well, as I said on Twitter, and I apologise, didn't mean to use the word awful, but it was very cold and I was typing really quickly, and sorry, it was the first thing that came to mind. But no, I just think he's not giving the team, or he's not doing enough to justify his place in the team. And people can say, oh well, look at statistics and look, yeah, but we're going back weeks ago. We're talking about now in the last few games that he's played. I mean, he's been given the opportunity. And to counterbalance my argument with that is the fact that I also, like I said before, I don't think he's like a real natural winger. I don't think he's got the anywhere near the electrifying pace of Sterling and Sané, who terrify defenders. And so they just show him in onto his left foot, and he seems to fall for it every time, or most of the time. There's one great bit of play where I think Dane took him out for a free kick, but again on corner duties he was given that initially and kept hitting the first Everton defender, so much so that Gundogan ended up taking the corners, playing out swingers. So Mahrez, I do feel a little bit sorry for him. I don't think playing as an out-and-out wide winger really suits his game. And maybe if Bernardo does need a rest, maybe Pep should play him in that inside 8 or 10 role, where I think he's so good on the ball. He's got great close control. He's got a wonderful first touch. I think maybe he can influence the game a little bit more, because he can hold the ball up. There's no doubt in that. He can play passes, but wanting him to play these incisive passes a little bit further forward when, he's isolated on occasions one-on-one like he was with Alonso last week against Chelsea. But it's just inside on his favour, and everything sort of slows down. So I'm not just blaming Mahrez. I think Pep needs to have a look at him and maybe play him a little bit inside, where he has got the opportunity to cut inside quickly, like he can do onto his left foot, and get a strike away really quickly, because we've seen, on occasions this season, he can cut inside and hit some absolutely beauties into the top corner. But didn't think it was his greatest game. And like many others, I'm going to give him a 6.5. So, on to Sané. Sané, like I said, looked a little bit leggy. But still looks dangerous. He can just look like he's just lethargic and doing nothing. Then all of a sudden gets the ball, bang! He's inside. 2-3 players are beaten, and everyone's on the back foot. And I just think if Mahrez could do a little bit more of that, even if he loses the ball, that's perfectly fine. But just commit a little bit more. But Sané does do that. Sané gets a 6.5 for yesterday. No, tell a lie. Gets a 7 because of his 2 assists. On to Gabby, finally. We've been, and I've been saying it all over Twitter for weeks and weeks and weeks. Please, just give the kid. He's a kid, you know. He's desperate for a couple of goals. Once a few go in, he'll be back to normal. And he works and works and works his socks off. And yeah, sometimes he's sloppy, and you think, you know, header against the crossbar or the post, and should really have scored. And that's all well and good. And forwards generally go through this, you know, peak and troughs of form and confidence and everything, but he took his first goal wonderfully well yesterday. Absolutely brilliant. Inside, little narrow, sort of literally a foot and a half gap, and he placed it beautifully into the bottom corner at Pickford's near post. Continued his play, working really hard, and got his rewards. Another wonderful little dinked ball from Leroy Sané, and the power he generated into the header was incredible, and gave Pickford no chance. So really pleased for Gabriel Jesus, and you know, we've got to not forget that he's only a young kid. He's only 21 years of age, and it was interesting listening. I did see the interview with Gabby after the game on Sky. On the drive home, and he said, you know, he's had a tough time and, you know, things like that, but his family's back with him, and that's given him the confidence, and as clearly as a young kid he wants his family around him, which is going to make him happier in himself, and obviously, you know, that'll contribute towards his you know, his confidence on the pitch as well. So let's not be too harsh on him. He's only a baby still. But I thought he had a wonderful game. Deservedly got the Man of the Match award. And there's nothing wrong with his effort. Absolutely not. Sub-wise, well, really, it's always one of those with subs. It's like, you know, they only come on generally for a short amount of time. Thought Raheem Sterling, when he came on, first touch, literally. And a wonderful little bit of interplay between Gabby and Fernandinho, and Fernandinho sort of jinked out left, played a lovely little dinked ball across, and Raza was there, you know, powerful header again, made no mistake, and again, I mean, he's just getting better and better. He's so confident now. He's one of our main players. I'm not going to give a score. Don't give a score for subs generally. I just mention him really for Raheem because he scored a goal, but overall it was a freezing cold day. It was horrible as a fan. Outside the stadium it was bitterly cold, and then the rain came and it was like freezing rain. So yeah, not a nice experience, but at least we got the 3 points, and in years gone by we would have been watching a Man City team in those type of conditions away from home or at home, at Main Road or the Commonwealth Stadium, and watching, being freezing cold and City getting beat and destroyed, but against a very good Everton team who, you know, at 3-1 could potentially, if they had were more clinical, could have got that back to 3-3, but I thought we were always in control. I thought we could always step up an extra gear. So another 3 points. Pressure's on for Liverpool this afternoon against United. Sorry, I just cannot bring myself to sort of support United winning today. I'll certainly support a 0-0 draw, and I said on the Twitter yesterday, just tongue in cheek, 5 red cards for Liverpool do me fine, but yeah, I mean, let's hope it's a 0-0. If United win, great. You know, it puts us those points in front, but I'm certainly not going to be cheering on Man United to beat Liverpool. Let's hope it's a dreary, drab game, 0-0. And we stay top of the table and onwards to Leicester midweek. So anyway, guys, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Give us your comments below. What do you think about the ratings? Maybe you disagree, maybe you don't. If you do disagree and you think, you know, somebody else should have been shouting out for a better or a lower score, then that's fine. That's what it's all about. That's what we do the channel for. Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Click notification. Sandy from Man City Fan TV, and we'll see you soon.